In the Lord I will trust. In the Lord I will trust. In the Lord until I die. Good morning, everyone. Another last day of Jesus said, always good. It's so good to stand with you. Welcome, one. Second Sunday, we lift you up on the we never thought that we would be there. Open the prayer, Lord, we are here, so that's right there. It's always good to come in the house of the Lord. One more time. I believe this is one of the biggest prayers that's going out to them. You know, like we in church to Sunday school. I let you know you need to pray. I want to say, enjoy the Lord. Know how to preach it. You didn't have to enjoy the Lord. You woke up this morning. That ought to be joy in your heart. That ought to be thanksgiving in your heart because somebody went to bed last night. Not only that, somebody went to bed last night. You're not able to get up this morning. But look at you now. Even the rain that's like because it could be a maybe rain on our side, but you know, I was still dropping the same. So what did that let me know? God is still good. If you can go to work in the rain, you can come to church. You know, we look for all kinds of excuses to come to church. But notice if you're a worker, you know, if you don't go to work, that man probably won't fight you. But yet, that same man who fighted you, he realized that God's in charge of him. So why can't you come and serve the man who's in charge of everything? Now, as we begin to look at this lesson and think about last week, I began to look and said, noble family tree. Now, if we went down that family tree, we found some things in that family tree that we said some of all of us got some in our tree. But what I like about that family tree began with Abraham. That's the beginning of that family tree. Now, you talk about Abraham and look at that family tree. Now, you think about it. When God came to Abraham, I told Abraham to leave where Abraham that time. Leave and go to a place that he was going to say him. Okay, I'm going to leave everything I got. I'm going to a place. So what's the first thing that comes to your mind? That has to be what? Trust. He had to trust God that he was going to do what he said, take and leave and go to a place that he didn't even know where he was going. When I get in my car, I usually know where I'm going. I either going to church, I'm going to see my people, I'm going somewhere. But he told Abraham to leave and go to a place that he promised. Now, isn't that something? That could be nothing but what? Trust. And then what I like about it, after he got there, Abraham played, and I think he was about 75 years old. Then he told him that he's going to be a father of many nations. Okay. 75, going to be a father of many nations, and I have no nation. So what you think? Yeah. That got me what? Trust again. So, but you know, Abraham, he did like most men would do. He let somebody talk him to doing something because he just couldn't wait. I know I get so bad. He just couldn't wait. Now he told him he's gonna be a father of the nation. Okay, I'm 75. I'm gonna be a father of the nation. So I need to go ahead and start my nation. And that's what Abraham was running through his mind. And you know what happened after that. Well, things are messed up. But what I like about it, God made the promise. And we made the promise, he stood to the promise. So what happened? Abraham was the beginning from that promise. Then after Abraham comes down the line of the promise, Abraham decided he had two children that still were from the what? The promise. And what he tells us, that you will be a father of many nations. Now, when we begin to think about a nation, come to your mind is in a nation you're going to have kings. So he telling Abraham, from you, there will be kings. Now, last week we read about this one here by the name of Ruth. That's when he part of that fire of Abraham when you come on down the line. And here we are today, we're looking at the start of Abraham. And come on down the line to where we are. Now, look at the lesson. It says, a very fine house. I believe it's broken today. Who wouldn't want a fine house? Everybody want a fine house. Now, I think this thing got a fine house. You build me a house and tell me this is my house. I won't have to pay for it. All I have to do is move in. Who wouldn't want that? That's a fine house. Get your clothes and move in. Move in a fine house. And our lesson said a fine house. So what happened? David decided he's going to do a fine house. Why David decided he thinks he's going to do a fine house? Being grateful for the things that God has done for him. David felt that he owed him something and he needed. Being grateful to God. And David felt like he owed him something. Do you think David said that if I build this house with God, he would do more for me? Being selfish. Okay, being selfish. I want to do this for God. So if I do this for God, God gonna do this here for me. So let's say that I do this, he'll do that. Now, a favor that he asks God for favor in his mind. God has not so much for him, so he just said that, okay, I'm gonna build God a fine house. And if I build God this fine house, he may give me a fine house. That's how we think. Okay, let's get look. If I come to church and I pay my tithe, which is the Old Testament, and I do that, woo, I know God will do it. What he gonna do? He gonna bless me. What's wrong with that? You want a favor for favor. What was that? Okay, but that's what we do. I come to church, I pay my tithe, I do all this here because I know if I do that, God will bless you. Wrong. God will bless you either way that you go. God will do it. You can't bribe God, and that's what we think. If I do this here, God will bless me. God gonna do what he gonna do, regardless of what you gonna do, because one thing, you can't buy salvation. So what you looking at, you trying to buy something from God that you can't buy. God already is God. God will have to give you nothing. You can't bribe God, but we looking at a bribe. And what you do? God tell us to do something. What did he tell us to do? Help the poor and needy. God tell us to love everybody. God tell us that. So if I'm doing this here, I'm already doing what God's saying. I'm paying my money. I'm already doing what God's saying. So what am I trying to do? How am I trying God? I pay more money than anybody in church. Don't mean nothing. I'm not saying I don't do it. I'm saying what people say. I pay more money than anybody in church. What are you trying to impress? The church. You can't impress God because God already knows it's not coming from the what? Heart. I believe when you jump over to the New Testament, it says the woman that had the how many mites? Two. Everybody that David had, but she did more than anybody else. Why did she do more? She gave all that she had. So that means that you do what God says, and God looking at your heart. It's not about what you're trying to impress me. Right. It's about who is about God. So when you begin to do that, and David thought that I feel God this fine house. I know what God done for me. But I know if I do this here, God will do just a little bit more. God doesn't work that way. God doesn't have to do anything for you. God already tells us what to do. All we have to do that, and everything else gonna fall in line. Everything you see. So you can't bribe God thinking that I'm gonna do this. Only thing you can do is fooling yourself. You're not even fooling me. But you got to realize that. And David realized that this fine house. But what I like about the same person that's gonna tell David about this, you know, the same person gonna tell David about gonna tell David about somebody else later on. I'm gonna get there later on. But look what happened here. David don't do what he always got to do. I'm going to drive God. I'm going to do all this him. I'm looking at heaven. I want everybody to make this happen. God didn't ask you to do that. Who asked you to do that? Man didn't ask you to do that because you put on the problem what? Man. It's the same thing about that. So we get into this fine house that David decided he was going to build, and that's not what God wanted him to build. Let's see what it says. The first thing says, a noble plan redirected. What does redirected mean? Turn around. He had a noble plan in his head. David sit back enjoying it because he had went to war. David had won through God. So now he's sitting back and looking at this nice home. So he decided, well, if I do this, then I'm going to build God. So I'm sick of that. That's what who said. David said, but God did the same thing I did. God will tell us what he said today. But you know, we get that same concept in our mind. I do this him, and I do this him. Remember what we do. I get big conversion money all the time. I don't let on what's going to happen. Big conversion will come around and give me some money. You know, I give somebody some money all the time. Later on, I'm expecting them to turn around and do what? Give it back. That's my expectation. But that's not how it works. If you give it from your heart and you do what? Give it, you don't expect anything back. What David said, if I build this house, I know I'm going to get something good from God. But in this sense, that a plan, redirect. Unlike we make plans, but it's not God's plan. Our plan doesn't coincide with God's plan at times. So we have to line up ourselves with who? God. When you line your plan up with God's plan, it always work out. There's going to be some hills. There's going to be some mountains to climb. But through it all, God is still going to go and let things work the way He wants to work. Our plan. Some of us made some bad plans. I know I made a bad plan in my life. I decided I'm going to do this here. I decided I'm going to marry somebody. I decided this here. I did it. I did it. Not God. If I had followed God's plan, I probably would be where I am now. I might even be better than I am. If I had followed God's plan, I would have to get out of school and had 2 trips for I even graduated. That was whose plan? My plan. And what's our plan do? Our plan always leads us into trouble. And what helps? Sometimes our plan keep our head down, trying to get up, because who plan what? Our plan. I just think God's plan is to have a family. God's plan is to have a man and have a woman. That's God's plan. God's plan is not to do what I did. God's plan was not to do what I did. God did what I did. Did you? What's that mean? And the pre-marriage what? There you go. Did we do that? That was our plan. But God's plan said, oh, when you do that, you need to be what? Married. See how we that's what I like that. We look at those people back there. But just think about what we done. The same thing. So that's our plan. What happened now is that a plan redirected. Reader, what it tell us?
Verse 4. And it came to pass that night that a word of the Lord came unto Nathan, saying,
David laying down. David told David, Nathan, I'm going to build a house for the Lord. When you read that, what did Nathan say? Go ahead on. Nathan said, that's a good idea, David. Go ahead and build a plan for the Lord. Who's that? Nathan. That old prophet. That's a good idea. He talking to who? King David. King David looked around at this nice, beautiful home and said, I'm going to build my house for the Lord. King David. And Nathan, go ahead, David. I think that's a good idea. A good idea. Who idea was that? David. David idea. Somebody was missing in that. God was missing in that. David said that he's going to be about a house. David even told Nathan he gonna build God what? House. Instead of Nathan saying, David, have you considered God? David, have you prayed about it? What did Nathan say? That's a good idea. That's a good idea. What is Nathan doing? Look how he kind of helping up David. That's a good idea. Good idea. You know how people do us? That's a good idea. Somebody should have told me a long time ago what I was doing wrong. Yeah. I think if they told me what I was doing wrong a long time ago, I'd be better than that. They might have told me some things, but I did what? I didn't listen to that. I was too young to listen because I know I got a long life. What's wrong with that? You don't know you have a long life. So that means I should have what? Listened then. So when you begin to listen to who God and do what God says, and then read what the next tells us.
Verse 5. Go and tell my servant David, thus saith the Lord, shalt thou build me a house for me to dwell in it?
What happened there? God intervened. When he intervened, who he told that same Nathan, go and tell who? My servant. It says in the Bible, there were a few people back there that they would call a God and call the other a servant. Now he told Nathan to go tell his servant David. Wait a minute. That same Nathan that David had told, I'm going to build me a God a house. What happened that night? God came in and told him, go and tell David. Tell David. That same David that I just told, that's a good idea. Yes, that same David. Go tell him not to build me this house. Now, what do you think, David? How do you think David? Both of them feel bad. David feel bad because David had a good plan. Whose plan was that? David's plan. David had a good plan to build God a house. Nathan accepted what David said. I think that's a good plan. Just watch him to build God a house. So you know all he done. All he done for you, you ought to do that for God. All God done for you, you ought to do this for God. What has God done for you that you want to do something for him? Everything. So what you ought to do for him? Everything. What's everything consist of? Serving him. That's what you're supposed to do. But now when you say, I'm going to do this for God because I know God is going to do this for me to say. So then he said, Nathan, that same Nathan, going to come up later on. Read it. What is it about that?
Verse 6. Whereas I have not dwelt in any house since the time that I brought up the children of Israel out of Egypt, even to this day, but have walked in a tent and in a tabernacle.
When God said he had dwelt in a house, what are you talking about there? He was speaking about the Ark of the Covenant. He was speaking about the Ark of the Covenant because the Ark of the Covenant kept on moving. Where was the Ark of the Covenant in? It was in a tent. And they kept on moving. So God said that would represent God. Said, I haven't been in a place since I left Egypt. Now you know that I read about that. God had told Moses how to build the Ark of the Covenant. He gave them some dimension. Let's go back. When he told Noah, what he said Noah what to do? He didn't tell him how to do it. He told him exactly what he wanted. Right here. God didn't tell David what he wanted. He didn't tell David, I want you to go out and build this way. Everything God did, God told somebody how to do it. But this is David laying back thinking about, I'm going to build this house for God. This is how I'm going to build God's house. And then what I like about this place, it's going to tell us what David wanted you to build it out. And God didn't say nothing about this. He let us know that I was in a tent. Every time that they moved, they would move me. He was saying that, so why? If you put God in your house, what does that mean? He can't go nowhere and do what? You containing him in the building. God cannot be contained. He said, what? I move. I'm everywhere. Remember, God is up to what? So that means he's what? So how can you put him in the building? But David didn't think that way. What David said, I'm going to build God a house. I'm going to put him in this house. And God let him know, no, you're not going to do that. I move from place to place because he's talking about that covenant. We move from place to place. Read what the nation tells us.
Verse 7. In all the places wherein I walked with all the children of Israel, spake I a word with any of the tribes of Israel, whom I commanded to feed my people Israel, saying, why build ye not me an house of cedar?
I've been walking all the time with my people. Now you want to build me a house of what? Cedar. You want to build me why cedar? Because at that time, cedar was very expensive. Cedar was what we said, classic. So now David thought he's going to be some real God, have some classic God. This is what David thinking about. And God said, all this time I have swear to the children of Israel, and nobody built anything for me. And first thing, I didn't ask nobody. I didn't tell nobody to build anything for me. Now all of a sudden, David, you decide that you're going to build my temple for me. You decide. How many times have you decided you're going to do something you didn't ask God? Think about it. All the time. And every time you decide you're going to do something and doesn't ask God about it, what happens? It fails. And somebody tell you, the first thing you say, I need to do what? I need to pray. Why would I pray over? I'm talking to God to get God consent of what I'm doing. But if I don't do it, I'm going to jump up and do things on my own. Every time you jump up and do things on your own, it doesn't consider God, it always fails. It may not fail today, but somewhere down the line, it's going to fail, then you're going to realize, I should ask God. If you put him what? God won't be nobody's second. God will be what? Put it first. David didn't put it first. Nathan didn't put it first. Then God turned around and said, no, don't build nothing for me. And read what the nation tells us. Other question. It says, what do you think? How does God respond to David illustrate his grace toward those that enjoy a personal relationship with him? How did God respond to David? Probably a good idea, David, but I didn't tell you to do it. That's how he responded to David. Good, I know what you're saying, David, but I didn't tell you to do it. Every time I told somebody to do something, I gave them the dimension. I gave them everything I wanted them to do. When they built that ark, God told them the dimension of the ark. He told them what was going to be in that ark. Everything he done, he told them how it needs to be done. Right here, David decided he's going to do it on his own. And you know, we just said, when you do things on your own without God, you're going to surely fail. But God, what I like about that, God didn't hold it against David. You know, isn't that good? We hold David against people. But God did not hold it against David. No, he don't. God, we didn't hold it against him. He said, David was a man of what? God owned. So that means he didn't hold nothing against David. But what do? We hold grudges from our little boys, our grown boys, our grown men, wherever we are, you still hold that same grudge. But, I like the but. We always want God to do what? To bless us. We always want God to forgive us. You want God to forgive us, but you won't forgive them. You won't forgive them. Whatever they've done to you, you want to hold that against you. Look what David did. And God still didn't stop that. And read the next we got to say, a gracious reminder. A gracious reminder.
Verse 8. Now therefore, so shalt thou say unto my servant David, thus saith the Lord of hosts, I took thee from the sheepcote, from following the sheep, to be ruler over my people, over Israel.
David, I took you from being a sheep person to become king. Isn't that something? So I did that. This is God's talking. If I did that same I would tell you how to build me a temple. Because look what I done. All you was just a little old shepherd boy. Little shepherd boy. That's what a shepherd boy. Then I took that shepherd boy and made him become a great king. Who Who did that? God did that. That's what it says right there. Tell us about that there. David, this is what God said. I already know what I've done, David. I done this here. I did this here, and then I should do that for you, David. But what David said, I'm going to build this for who? God. The reason I'm going to build it for God because I feel like God probably will continue to give me another lesson. Because if I do this here, I know there's a lesson coming. That's not what God said. God said, David, I know who you were before you leave David. Isn't that something? God knows me before my mom and dad even knew me. God knows them before their mom and dad knew them. What kind of God do we serve? Awesome God. He already knows that. You don't have to tell God that. God already knows that. So David, you don't have to build your house. I'm already going to get a house built. And the good thing about it, it's not going to come from David. It's not going to come from David, but it's going to come on down the line from Luke. And you know what? This house that he talked about, that somebody going to build David, it's going to be how Cricket David did. Look, he's not going to use one of them boys today. Who he going to use? His son, who that son come from? Bathsheba. And who was Bathsheba? Uriah, right? So what did that tell you? Our God is still what? Our son. Look what he did, David. He's not going to let David build. Why he going to let David build in my house? He had, I'm going to say that. He had blood on his hand. David had blood on that. But what I like about the blood that's on David's hand, God directed them. But yet, he said, no, David, you're not going to build me a house because you got blood on your hand, but somebody of your descendants going to build me a house. And David, let's get to the next. Then we come back.
Verse 9. And I was with thee, whithersoever thou wentest, and have cut off all thine enemies out of thy sight, and have made thee a great name, like unto the name of the great men that are in the earth.
David, I've been with you from the beginning. David, I was with you for your evil bones. David, I was with you when you were fighting those Philistines. You know, the Philistines was one of his worst enemies. God let him know I was with you right there, David. When David killed Goliath and everybody was afraid of him, who was with him? God was with him. He is a little boy going to face the giant. Everybody was scared of the giant. They Philistines know they had a weapon. They had what's called a secret weapon. And when they brought him out, millions filled. But here comes a little old boy. Think about it. A little old shepherd boy. Somebody run behind sheep. I haven't said that. Look how good God is. A little old shepherd boy run behind sheep. God took that little shepherd boy and did away with this big old Philistine man by the name of who? Goliath. What did he tell you? I was with you when? Then, David. I was with you right there. I was with you with your enemy, David. I like that he said, with your enemy, I was like that with you, David. Now, can you beat that? God already was there with them. And then read what the next is up.
Verse 10. Moreover, I will appoint a place for my people Israel, and will plant them, that they may dwell in a place of their own, and move no more. Neither shall the children of wickedness afflict them anymore.
God talk.
As before time.
God talk. What he tell him? I will. You know, I never like that. David, I don't want you to do nothing. What he said? I will. Then he said, I will do what? I will put a place for who? My people. I will put a place for my people. My people don't have to run anymore. I will put a place for my people. So what does that mean? If I am God's people, all I need to do is just stand still, like Moses said, and see what? See the salvation of the Lord. Have you ever kind of check back in your life and just stand back and let God do his thing? You know, when God do his thing, man, you don't think it ask Moses, did he do it right there? Then what he told David right here? David, in time, I will pray for who? My people. You know, it's nothing wrong with God people. All the people in the world, I want to be one of God's people. when you got God's church, now what a God's church, God got you. And got you. And got you. God got you. All you got to do is what? One of who? God's church. Because he said, I will point a place for them. And what he said? They won't have to move what? No more. When I thought about no more, you know what I jumped to? Revelation. What did Revelation tell us? There will be no more. Who said that? That's what John told it. God told John, right, there will be no more. And look what Jesus said. God said, there will be no more. I'm going to have a place for who? My people. They won't have to move what? No more. So aren't you glad you're God's people? That you don't have to move no more. No matter how bad the world is, if you got God, you don't have to worry about no more. Whatever problem you got, just turn it over to who? God, and you don't have to worry about what? No more. What did he say? He just said right here. And not only said him, he jumped over to Revelation and told the same thing. Didn't he? He told John, you write this. 21st chapter, write this, John. There will be no more. Let me see. If you got a backache, when you get that, there'll be what? No more. He's going to tell us about to face him. If you got a headache, when you get that, there'll be what? No more. If your family treats you wrong, when you get that, there'll be what? No more. If your boss man treats you wrong, when you get that, there'll be what? Because he got what for you? He got a place for you. Then it just said, he got a place for you. And I'm looking for that place that he got for you. That place he's talking about there. Peter, what's that chapter? The next one.
Verse 11. And as since the time that I commanded judges to be over my people Israel, and have caused thee to rest from all thine enemies.
He said, man, he said what? Since that time, he first started off with judges. What kind of guy did that? After they got there, he gave them the judges. And then, you know, what they said, we don't want judges. What do we want? We want a king. We tired of judges. We're going to give us a what? King. So he gave him a king. Where did the king start from? The king goes back to the sister. When you come on down the line, the sister group, who is the sister group there until last week? Who are we talking about today? David. So what happened? That's a king. But look what happened. Before that king, that comes up. Saul. They wanted a king so bad that he gave them. Okay, go tell him. Go tell them, Samuel, that they will get their king. But also tell them, Samuel, that earthly king is not going to be what they want. What I like about, they already had a king. Who was that king? God was the king. But what happened? They didn't see God. So what they want? They want an earthly king, somebody they can see. And he told them, when you get this earthly king, you follow him. Wish you had got the earthly king. So who did they come up with? He told Samuel, just Samuel, to go and tell Saul. And I think it said Saul was not just anybody. It told us Saul was kind of handsome like that. Yeah. So when that happened, that reminded me of all right. You may not be able to write all right. He's up there. There you go. Go tell Saul. I had to get that in. I don't want to sleep outside. So go tell Saul that he would be the first king. But what happened? Saul started doing good, and God told him, as long as he do what God say do, everything will be all right. But old Saul got too good. Saul just got so good that Saul had a problem. Saul started doing things that God didn't tell him to do. And who did he send to Saul? He sent Samuel. And Samuel tell him that he would no longer be the king. His descendants would no longer be your king. Why? Because he disobeyed God. And what said? We want a king. God gave him a king, and look what happened to the king. But then, here comes the problem. Then, here comes that second king. Right here. Who are we talking about? David. David became king. Not only did David become king of Judah, but David became king of the whole Israel. and he ruled 40 years. David right here. And look what it tells us right there. It said, after the judge that I gave you, you didn't accept them to rule over the people. So he sent a king. And that king was King David. And look what happened. They didn't even accept King David. Some of them. That's let you know. Some people don't accept nobody. No matter how good you are, they're still going to find people that don't accept you. Mr. Jason? You try to Miss Tracy say. Miss Tracy said some people think they got a king coming here next month. That they accept him as their king. He can't do anything wrong. Whatever he says he's gonna do. But when it happened, when it happened, last month, it didn't bother me. Because I know the man who is in control. When people hollering and crying, weeping and moaning, all I know that he does things to get our attention. I told my wife way back, Jean, people always talk about where she gonna do, Jean. God does things to get our attention. God put people in place to bring his people back to him. Go back to your Bible. The Babylon. Israel was so wrong that he sent the Babylon to bring them back to who? Him. So he'll put a person in place just like him to bring us back to who? Him. When we come back to him, he has no power. He cannot do nothing. The man I serve has all power. I don't serve him. You don't serve him. You don't serve her. She got it all. You serve who? Him. When you serve him, it doesn't matter who says who I am. I know who he is. When you know who he is, you don't worry about who that other person is. Because I serve this capital G-O-D. I don't serve that small G-O-D that they serve. When you serve that small G-O-D, you're going to be just like those children. So you got to serve that who? That big G-O-D. I serve a man that knows everything. I serve a man that has a little small G-O-D, like well. That's the man I serve. So it doesn't matter who get it off. If you right with God, and you know there is a God, and you believe there is a God, don't worry about it. Everybody I just sleep just like this before this happened. I'm not going to start sleeping at all because I know that I'm doing what God wants me to do. So if I know I'm doing what God wants me to do, why should I worry about who's going to be in the White House? I know who's going to be in the White House. He's already in the White House. He is in the Black House. He is in the Blue House. He is in the Green House. I think he's in the Yellow House. Who's in the house? This man, I got, you know, when it gets good to me, I just go somewhere and don't know what I'm going. I know he is what? He is good. The reason I know he's good, not sometimes. The man I serve is good with all the time. He was good and no good. Still good. He's going to be good with in January. He's still going to be what? Good. All I got to know is what Abraham did. Abraham left on what? Trust. Abraham left on what? Believe. So if I got the same trust and belief that Abraham had, what did I need to do? Go to bed and sleep at night. And put it all in whose hands? Y'all make me mad this morning. All right? Question. It says, how should past blessing inform and direct our future? How should your past blessing inform you and direct your future? The past blessing. Trust in God. The same God that gave it to me, I said what? Back then, is the same God gonna give it to me when? Right now? The same God will give it to me when? Tomorrow? All I need to do is trust who? God. It was tough back there then, and he brought me over If he get tough right here now, what is he gonna do? Bring me over. If them folks were doing what they're doing back in my great grandmother did, he brought them over. They brought me over. Who was back there then? That same God. That same God was back there when they had changed it on us, on them. What did he do? He brought them over. So if that same God brought them over, and the Bible says he changed his what? If he changed it not, all I got to do is what? Trust him. And do what? Believe that that same God was here yesterday, he's here when? Today. And that same God will be what? I'm talking about that God. I'm talking about that God with a capital G-O-D. Not that the small God. The God that I know. He was back there and he's still right there now. The God I know. And read what we got here.
Verse 11c. Also the Lord telleth thee that he will make thee an house.
Look what it's saying there. The Lord tells thee he will make thee a what? A house. Now, he telling him I'm going to make a house, but he didn't tell him who going to build a house. That's what I like about it. He going to make him a house. And David probably think, oh, God, going to let me build a house. No, David, you're not going to build a house, but one of your sons going to build a house. And the son going to build a house is the one that you had dang killed. That's the son going to build me a house. Look what happened. David thinking, yeah, I said I'm going to build it, but God said, no, you're not going to build it. But your son, read it, what that makes it tell.
Verse 12. And when thy days be fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and will establish his kingdom.
When I fulfill this him, I will sleep with thy father. He said that God don't sleep with his father. David, your son is your seed. Gonna build me this house. Your son, your seed. And I'm gonna sleep with him just as I slept with you. Isn't it good you know that God sleeps with us all the time?
Yeah.
And God doesn't sleep. God said wait with us. But God is what? With us in all the time. He let David know right there. You're not gonna do it, David, but your seed. Now David think about all them seeds he done planted. Which one of them gonna build this house? The seed that's gonna build this house hasn't even come on seed yet. David hasn't even commit what he gonna do yet. But that's the seed that's gonna build a house. Now David thinking about one of the more that David didn't know what he gonna do later on. The same one that David did later on with, that's the one gonna build this with God. Who was that son? Solomon, the most wisest person that lived with at that time. That's who's gonna build this. And who was Solomon? David's son. And who was Solomon's mother? Bathsheba, the woman that David had her husband killed. This is one gonna build a place for the king. It is somehow God can use somebody like this. Now God gonna always bring you that time now. Ain't gonna let that son that come from a murder plot. David had the man killed to build this for me. Not you, David. You got blood, but your son gonna build for me. And read it, come here with the next two.
Verse 13. He shall build an house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. Verse 14. I will be his father, and he shall be my son. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men, and with the stripes of the children of men.
He will be his father, just as he is David's father. And I like to say, if he commit iniquity, what that mean? If he commits sin, I'm not going to take it from him. What am I doing? I'm on chastise him. I'm on punish him, but I'm not going to take it from him. What he did to Saul? He did just opposite Saul. What he told tell Saul, you will no longer be a kingdom. His descendants will no longer be a kingdom. But right here, that just shows you. David, a man of God on what? Hard. He said, if you do wrong, I'm going to chastise you, but I'm still going to love you. That's how I got children. You know, if our children do wrong, we go to kind of touch them up a little bit, but we still go to do what? Love them. You don't stop loving them when they do wrong. You go ahead and correct that wrong, and then you keep going. If God did it today, why can't we do it for ourselves? If God did it today, Why don't we do it for our sake? But what do? We won't do it. I know that's your child. But what happened? I don't love it. Do you stop loving because you chastise? Do you stop loving because you kept tighten up a little bit? Because if that was the case, my church boy would never say that because the only way I had to tighten up a little bit. Sometimes we have to do that. But God's love is different from our love. Right. So we got to have the same love that God had. You got to do the same thing. What he said right here about Solomon. All right. Read from Galatians.
Verse 15. But my mercy shall not depart away from him, as I took it from Saul, whom I put away before thee.
What it says, I took it from Saul, but I'm not going to take it from you, David. Your descendants will be always on the throne. What I like about that, when he said his descendants will be always on the throne, we read about it right here. Now we're going to get to that next read. Give me the next two.
Verse 16. And thine house and thine kingdom shall be established forever before thee. Thy throne shall be established forever. Verse 17. According to all these words and according to all this vision, so did Nathan speak unto David.
Look what happened. He told him, I'm not going to take it from you, but your throne will be forever. When he said forever, what was he talking about? He was talking about heaven and eternity. When he told David, the throne that you're going to have is not going to end. This is going to be an everlasting throne, and it comes from who? It comes from David. I'm not going to take this from you, David, but your throne will live forever. And when we got together, we came on down the line through all of those 42 generations. And who did that ever come to? Jesus Christ. 42 generations down, it came to Jesus Christ. And what it said, he would build a throne that's going to last what? Forever. That means that's a place that never have a end. That's what that. And who did that come from? He said, David. You not going to build a David, but your son Solomon will build a temple. Through that, this is going to last forever. The temple he's talking about is come on down the line through Jesus Christ. 42 generations. All this comes from who? Abraham. He gave it to that noble seed of Abraham, that family tree. From Abraham come all the way down to Jesus Christ. You know, in the New Testament, the two most people we talk about is who? Abraham and David. You know what I'm saying? Those are the most two people talk about in the New Testament. Abraham and David. And look what happened. Through them came Jesus Christ. And through that, what we are today. When you trust nobody but him, and you believe him, you can have that everlasting kingdom that he told him. There will be no more dying, no more suffering, because when you get there, he's talking about this everlasting kingdom that's going to last not just a little bit, because it's going to last for what? Everlasting. You can get all the temples you want to, all the different places you want, but what's going to happen? Eventually, they're going to be taken. But the temple he's talking about is the one that never has ended. This is the temple he's talking about. So when you think about that, what he was telling David, that it's going to last forever, that's what he's talking about, forever. No giving to forever. Question. I got just a little bit of this in, just a little, run out of time. I'm going to cut off. It's good. This is what he told him. Well, I guess he did. Well, we don't want to play that. But anyway, the son was God promised. God made a promise to Abraham. Abraham promise came on down the line. That's what the song was about. God promised.
Oh, baby. My bad. My bad.